Hi viewers, welcome to Ganisk YouTube channel. In this tutorial, I am going to explain you how to create this type of column with a base plate in modeling and how to create single part drawing and assembly drawing for this column in Tekla Structures. Okay, let's start. Open Tekla Structures with the US environment. Now we're going to create column. So click on steel and select this column and pick the position. For example, click on here, right click on mouse interrupt. Now double click on this column. By default, we have W16 by 50. If you want to change, then click on here. You can choose from these options, then click on apply. OK, currently I'm going to take this W16 by 50 and let's take the bottom level 0 and let's take top level 15 feet. Then click on modify to see the result here. Now close this window, click on space, right click on mouse to draw. Okay, now we're going to create base plate for this column. So go to the application components by using the shortcut Control F, or you can click on here in search bar, type base plate and click on enter and scroll it down. And now we're going to take this type of base plate, US base plate 1047. So click on this component and pick the main part as a column and pick the position at gradient section point. Now right click on mouse interrupt and close this window. You can see by default you have base plate like this. Now click on space, right click on mouse to draw. You can see you will get like this. Okay, now we're going to edit this base plate. So double click on this base plate and zoom out and zoom in here. Now go to the base parts tab. In parts you can change the base plate thickness here. For example, by default we have 3 by 4 inch. For example, let's take half inch, then click on modify to see the result here. You can see now this base plate thickness should be half inch. Okay, now I'm going to change the base plate size first. So click on this bolts tab. In bolts you can change the bolt size here. Let's take bolt size 3 by 4 inch and tolerance 5 by 16. And in the lengthwise we're going to take the base plate length 2 inch edge distance, and number of bolts in lengthwise we're going to take here 2, and the spacing between the bolts let's take 1 feet 8 inch. Now click on modify to see the result. Now coming to the widthwise, we're going to take the edge distance 2 inch and number of bolts 2, and the spacing between the two bolts in widthwise let's take 1 feet 2 inch. Now click on modify. You can see you will get like this. Now go to the anchors tab. In anchors you can change the rod profile here. In bolts we have taken 3 by 4 inch, so in anchors also you should take 3 by 4 inch rod and night washer like this. If you want to change, then click on here. You need to enter here the size of this anchor, apply OK. Now similarly click on here. In the list you need to select the nut profile. Then for example, if you want to take 1 inch heavy hex nut, then select it, then click on apply OK. Currently we are going to take 3 by 4 inch, so click on apply OK. Similarly you can take the washer profile also from here. Click on here and select from these options, then click on apply OK. If you want to change the anchor rod length, you can change from this option, and this is the thread length and this is the projection length. Okay, now we require the stiffeners for this base plate, so click on the stiffeners tab. You can see now we have the number for each stiffener. You can see 1 2 3 4 5 and 6 7 8. We record all stiffeners, so you need to enter here 1 and give the space 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Then click on modify. You'll get all stiffeners like this. For example, if you don't require intermediate stiffeners, these stiffeners 7 and 8, so just to remove this 7 and 8 and remove here, then click on modify. You can see now we don't have any web stiffeners at this location. Okay, if you require, then enter value here 7 and 8, then click on modify to get the stiffeners at this location like this. Okay, now we require the chamfer for the stiffeners at the corner at this location, so click on this picture tab. In picture you can enter here the chamfer value. Let's take 2 inch here on for stiffener number 1 2 4 5, and here 3 6 7 8. then click on modify to see the result. You can see now I have the chamfer for these stiffeners like this. If you want to increase the width and height and thickness of the stiffeners, go to parts tab. In parts, you can see now I have the stiffeners 1 2 3 4, 1 2 4 5 and 3 6 7 8 information here. For example, let's take the thickness of the stiffener 1 by 4 inch here. Then click on modify to see the result. You can see now the thickness of the stiffener should be 1 by 4 inch. If you want to increase the width, now enter here width of the stiffener. Let's take here 4 inch. Now click on modify. You can see now width of the stiffener should be 4 inch. Okay, let's take here 3.5 inch. Now click on modify. You can see now we have 3.5 inch stiffener width. Similarly, you can enter the height of the stiffener from here. Let's take height 6 inch. Click on modify. You can see now I have 6 inch height of the stiffener. Okay, let's take here 8 inch. Click on modify. As per your design, you can enter the height and width of the stiffeners from these options. Once completed, then click on modify, apply. Okay. Click on space, right click on mouse, review. You can see by default we have the grout at the bottom of this base plate. If you want to change the thickness of this grout, then double click on this base plate. Go to anchors tab. In anchors, you can see now grout thickness by default we have 3 by 4 inch. If you want to increase, you can increase from this option. Let's take here 1 inch. Now click on modify. You can see now the thickness of this grout should be 1 inch. For example, if you don't record this grout, then you need to make it here 0. Click on modify. You can see now we don't have any grout at this location. Then click on modify, apply, OK. Click on space, right click on mouse, review. Okay, now we're going to check the assembly parts of this assembly set. So click on this column, right click on mouse, inquire and assembly. You can see now this is the main part of the assembly, and this yellow color indicates the secondary part. You can see these stiffeners are not included in this assembly. Otherwise, these stiffeners should be in this color, yellow color. So we need to weld this stiffeners to the column to include this parts in assembly. So click on OK. Now I'm going to weld the stiffeners, all stiffeners to this column or base plate. You can weld to the column or base plate to any one of the part. So to weld this stiffener to this column, you need to click on this option, select object in component, and you need to select this option weld, and you need to pick the main part, and now pick the secondary part as a stiffener to weld this to this column. Repeat the same procedure to the all stiffeners. Select the main part and pick the secondary part to weld. Do the same thing, pick the main part and pick the secondary part, and pick the main part and pick the secondary part for this stiffener, and rotate like this. You need to rotate. So pick the main part and pick secondary part to weld this. Okay, now I'm going to rotate this model. So now we need to weld this side. So select this weld mark and pick the main part, and pick the second part, this stiffener. Now pick the main part and pick the second part for this stiffener. Right click on mouse, interrupt, and right click on mouse, review. Now we need to weld this stiffener to this column. So select this weld symbol and pick the main part and pick the secondary part to weld this stiffener to this main column. Okay, right click on mouse, interrupt, click on space, right click on mouse, review. Now we're going to check once again the assembly. So select this column, right click on mouse, inquire and assembly. You can see now all stiffeners and base plate are included in this assembly. So now we're going to create numbering. So click on this drawings and reports, and click on this perform numbering, and click on this number modified objects. You can see numbering completed successfully. Now we're going to create single part drawing. So to create single part drawing, you need to select this option, select object in component. Okay, now I'm going to create a single part drawing for this column. So select this column, right click on mouse, create drawing and single part drawing. Go to drawing list by using the shortcut Ctrl L. Click on the single part drawing. Now you can see now here the C1 column is a single part drawing. Okay, now we're going to create a plate single part drawing, stiffeners and base plate. So click on here and click on here, and let's take, scroll it down and select this steel plate profile, then click on apply. Okay, now drag and select here. Okay, see now we have selected only plates here. Now right click on mouse, create drawing and single part drawings. You can see now we have successfully created this plate drawings also. So go to the drawing list by using the shortcut Ctrl L. You can see now I have the single part drawings here, BP1 base plate and C1 column, and P1 is the plate for stiffeners. Okay, let's take the BP1, double click on this BP1 to open the drawing. Now close the window here, zoom it. You can see now we have the base plate information here. We have the total dimension and we have the distance. Now click on this dimension and you can drag it here with the left mouse key, and click on here and drag here nearby it. If you want to place this dimension here, just click on it and use the left mouse key to drag and place the position wherever you want, like this. If you want to create the base plate part mark, then click on this base plate, right click on mouse, add mark and applied. You can see now we have the base plate. Hold the shift key and use the left mouse key to drag and place the position of this cursor, this mark, and just use the mouse left key to adjust the position without moving this arrow. Click on space to deselect it, like this. If you want to increase the scale up this drawing, then just move this cursor nearby this base plate. Now you will get this boundary. Double click on this boundary. Now let's take here 1/8. Now click on modify to increase the scale up, like this. Now click on modify, apply. Okay, you can see you will get like this. Now use the shortcut Ctrl S for save the drawing. Now we have the base plate information, quantity, and the profile and the grade and everything in the bill of material at this bottom of this page. Now use the shortcut Ctrl S for save it and close this window at here. Now go to drawing list by using the shortcut Ctrl L. Now let's take this column profile. So C1, double click on this C1 drawing. Now close the window here. You can see now we have the column drawing at this location. We have the total length of this column with the profile. So let's take, just click on this column, right click on mouse, add mark and applied to give the part mark of this column. And if you want to create the section, so go to view and click on this section view and pick the first position at here and pick the second position. You need to pick the perpendicular to the first position. If you're not getting perpendicular symbol, then you need to click on this option, snap to perpendicular point. Now you'll get exactly perpendicular point here. So click on here and pick the first position here, pick the second position to cover the depth of this column in the section view. Now click on here to place the position of this section. Now double click on this boundary of this drawing. You can see now we have the scale 1/12. So in section also we need to place the scale 1/12. So double click on this boundary of this section. Now take here 1/12. Now click on modify, apply. Okay, you can see now we have the section of this column like this. Click on this section arrow and you can adjust the position of this arrow with the left mouse key, like this. Double click on this column. If you want to remove this section hatching, now click on this fill option. Now click on here and you need to make none, then click on modify, apply. Okay, to remove the hatching in this column section. Now I have the information of this column in bill of material. Here you can see C1 and the profile is this one, and the grade and quantity and length and weight and area. Okay, that's it. Then use the shortcut Ctrl S for save it. Now close this window. Now go to drawing list by using the shortcut Ctrl L. Now we have completed this BP1 and C1. Now coming to this stiffener P1. So double click on this P1. Now close this window here. You can see now we have the stiffener information at this location. So now we need to scale up this drawing. So double click on this boundary and let's take here 1/6. Now click on modify, apply, OK. You can see now we have the total length and total width here, and this is the slope of this stiffener. Instead of creating a slope, now we're going to make the dimension. So click on it and delete this dimension and delete this dimension also. Now go to dimensioning and select this vertical dimension and pick the first point here and second point here and place it here, the total width of the. Press the scroll wheel button to place the dimension like this. Now click on the first point and second point and press the scroll button to place the dimension. Similarly, we're going to take the horizontal dimension for this chamfer cutting. Pick the first position and second position. Use the press the scroll button to place the dimension. Right click on interrupt. Now click on this dimension and use the left mouse key to adjust the position of this dimension. Okay, now we're going to create the part mark for this part. So click on this part, right click on mouse, add mark and applied. Click on here and place it in this side and hold the shift key and use the left mouse key to adjust the position of this arrow like this. Because still if you want to increase the scale up, then double click on this boundary and let's take here 1/3. Then click on modify, apply, OK and place it like this. Once increase the scale up to make sure the all dimensions are placed properly, just check it. You can see now you need to move upward direction and this one also little bit outside, and just adjust the position of this part marks and dimensions after scale up or scale down. Okay, now we have the information of this part at this in the bill of material. You can see now we have the P1 and now we have the size, profile and everything at this location. Okay, use the shortcut Control S for save it. You can see now we have the stiffeners quantity, we have 8 and the grade this one and the profile and part mark here. Use the shortcut Control S for save it and close this window here. Now use the shortcut Control L for open the drawing list. You can see now we have completed BP1, C1 and P1 single part drawings. Now we're going to create assembly drawing. So close this window. Now you need to click on here, filter. Now click on here and scroll up and you need to select this standard. Then click on apply, OK. Now click on this column, then right click on mouse, create drawing and assembly drawing. You can see now one drawing created successfully. So click on space, use the shortcut Control L for open the drawing list. Now you need to click on this assembly drawing. Now you can see now we have the assembly drawing C1. Type A indicates the assembly drawing. So double click on this drawing to open. Now close this window here. You can see now we have the assembly drawing at this location like this. Okay, now we have the total length of this assembly and now we have the levels here. We don't require these many part marks, so click on here and delete the part marks here. All parts are P1. We already know that all parts are P1, so just click on it and right click on mouse, add mark and apply, and just create only one part mark and all part marks are same. So we need to make double click on this part mark and scroll it down and select this text and click on add. In the bracket, let's take TYP, typical. Now click on OK and click on modify, apply, OK, and click on this part mark and drag and place proper position of this part mark. You can see this typical indicates the all part marks should be P1, remaining stiffeners. Okay, now we have the dimension of this part mark here. We don't require this dimension, so delete this dimension. Now we have the section here, and now we're going to create the part mark for this column. So select this I section, then right click on mouse, add mark, applied. Here we don't require any typical, so double click on it, select it and remove, modify, apply, OK, and place it like this. Now we need to create the base plate part mark also. So select this base plate, right click on mouse, add mark and applied like this. Hold the shift key to move entire part mark and just use the left mouse key to adjust the position of this part mark without moving this arrow. Now coming to here under the section, in section we have the dimension here from hole to center of this column to hole dimension. Here we don't require this dimension, so delete this dimension. So similarly we don't require this dimension, delete it, and just we require the center of this column to edge of this hole and add here. Okay, that's it. This dimension indicates the edge of this stiffener to center of this column. So we require this dimension, so just place it here. And okay, these dimensions are more than enough if you want to create the part mark for this stiffener. So click on this part mark, right click on mouse, add mark and applied. You can see now we have the part mark for this stiffener. All stiffeners are same part mark, so double click on this part mark and scroll it down and select this text and click on add, and in bracket type typical typ shortcut. Click on OK, then click on modify, apply, OK. You'll get like this. Okay, now we're going to create base plate part mark also. So click on this base plate, right click on mouse. Now we already have this base plate part mark, so click on it and delete. Now select this part mark, right click on mouse, add mark and apply it to create this style. So hold the shift key and just place it here at the top. Now we have the place here, so we don't require any typical at this location because we have only one base plate. So double click on it and remove this typical. Now click on modify, apply, OK, and place it like this. Now we have the hole size also here. Okay, now we're going to weld this stiffener to this base plate and column. So now we're going to place the welding symbol at bottom. So go to annotations and select this weld mark and pick the first position here and place it here. Now I'm going to create the welding symbol between the stiffener to this flange. So click on weld mark and click on here and place it here. Both weld marks are same, so select this weld mark and hold the control and select this second weld mark, then right click on mouse, match it, and you can place like this. Now coming to here, now base plate and this column should be weld all round. So select this weld mark and click on here and place it here. Now this is a single side weld, but we require around weld, so double click on this weld mark, and if you want to change the weld size you can change from here, and you can change the type of this weld from here. Currently we require around weld, so you need to click on here and set this around weld, then click on modify, apply, OK, like this, between column to base plate. That's it about the weld mark. And if you want to change the position of this drawing, then click on here boundary and you can adjust the position of this drawing, and similarly you can adjust the section also. Just click on here boundary and you can adjust the position of this section. Now I have the information about this whole assembly at here bill of material. You can see now we have the C1, BP1, P1, and we have the quantity and profiles and length and weight and everything. Okay, we have the column location also at this location. Okay, and use the shortcut Control S for save this drawing and close this window here. Okay, that's it about how to create this type of column with a base plate and single part drawings and assembly drawings in Tekla Structures. If you like this video, please like it and share it. If you have any doubts, please comment below. For more Tekla Structure related videos, please go to my channel youtube.com/GaniSK. I will provide this link in the description below of this video. Please go through it and come here. Under videos, you can find out so many Tekla Structure related videos. I hope these videos might be helpful to you. And at the top right corner, please click on subscribe button. If you subscribe, you will get notification or updates when uploading new video. So please click on subscribe. Okay, thank you.